So students, now we have some idea about what do you mean by the term daffodils, and we had learned various literary devices like symbolism, personification, and we had discussed about the title, the daffodils, and we had we have somehow realized that what was the mindset of the poet. Fine. So come on, let's start reading this poem. Fair daffodils, we weep to see you hast away so soon, as yet the early rising sun has not attained his noon. See, the first stanza of the poem begins with a sadistic note. Why the daffodils hast away so soon? That's why in the chapter, in this poem, in the beginning, it is written here, this poem, Two Daffodils, deals with the perishable nature of daffodils, which ultimately suggests the transitory existence of all human beings. I have already explained this line in the introduction part, but here this stanza will give you, the exact thought behind these lines. Okay, nothing is static in this world. कुछ भी यहाँ permanent नहीं है. Nothing is static. Marked by a note of sadness, the poem has philosophical overtones. So today you are going to study the philosophy of life. You will realize what kind of a philosophy you have to follow in your life. Okay. So somehow I can assure you that in this session you will learn you will develop a new perspective for your life. आप एक नई perspective से आज अपने life को देखेंगे. Fine. So come on, start with the surface meaning of this poem. In his poem, Two Daffodils, the poet Robert Herrick begins by saying that we grieve to see the beautiful daffodils being wasted away very quickly. The duration of their gloom is so short that it seems even the rising sun still has not reached the noon time. So here the beginning of the poem had a mourning note, begins with a sadistic tone. So that's why the duration of their gloom is so short that it seems even the rising sun, just relate with the line, as yet the early rising sun has not attained his noon. It means that a person had not taken his lunch. In the same way, the daffodils had not attained the noon. It means it died away so early. That's why in the very beginning, the poet has struck a note of mourning at the fast dying of daffodils. Okay. Until the hasting day has run, but to the even song, and having prayed together, we will go with you along. Now again the poet wanted to go with the daffodil. He wanted to give company to daffodil. Why? Because he had related the same transitory existence of human life with the perishable nature of daffodils. Fine. So the poet then addresses the daffodils and asks them to stay until the clay ends with the evening prayer. After praying together, he says that they will also accompany the daffodils. Why? Because like flowers, men too have a very transient life, and even the youth is also very short-lived. Now, here is the biggest comparison, because he had compared the daffodils with the young youth, because men too have a very transient life, and even the youth is also very short-lived. So he wanted to give the company to the daffodils, because what he was saying, that until the clay ends. What do you mean by the term clay here? Why I have given this example of clay? Because clay is that form of a soil that dried very fast, and before it dried we have to give the exact mold to it to have a shape. जैसे गीली मिट्टी को अगर सही समय पे एक रूप ना दिया जाए तो वो इतनी हार्ड हो जाती है कि हम उसमें कोई रूप बना ही नहीं सकते. दैट्स वाई लाइफ में इफ़ यू वांट टू यूटिलाइज योर लाइफ इन अ बेटर वे यू हैव टू डू द राइट थिंग्स इन योर लाइफ इन प्रॉपर टाइम. ठीक है, तो यू हैव टू analyze these things with the day-to-day life actions and your experiences. You have to make a complete comparison, because here the poet tried to compare the daffodil with the human life. That's why he wanted to accompany the daffodils. Okay, so now see the third stanza. We have short time to stay as you, we have as short a spring, as quick a growth to meet decay, as you or anything we die, as your hours do and dry away, like to the summer's rain, or as a pulse of morning's dew, never to be found again. Now, after analyzing the above two stanzas, we are going to focus on the third and the last stanza. We have short time to stay as you. What does this mean? We have short time to stay as you. We have as short as spring. Robert Herrick symbolically refers to the youth as a spring in these lines. Why? Because he equates and compares human life with the life of daffodils. Further, he says that both of them grow very fast to be destroyed later. Just like the short duration of the flowers meant to die away soon. ठीक है, जिस तरह से मैन का जो यूथ टाइम डाई होता है, उसी तरह से डैफोडिल का भी लाइफ बहुत ही शॉर्ट स्पैन के लिए होता है, एंड दैट टू डाई वेरी सून. दैट्स वाई आई हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड इन द introduction section that what do you mean by the term symbolism. So here is the exact use of that literary device that is called symbolism, because here daffodils is not used with the literal meaning. Okay, we are relating one of the characteristics of daffodil with the youth. That's why we have compared here the life of the men. The life of human being is not only compared with the fast going daffodils, it is again compared with the spring season. So the poet, that's why I have used in the beginning that the poet had beautifully used the various adjectives, various lucidity of words, exact words. उन्होंने बहुत ही खूबसूरती से, बहुत ही साधारण तरीके से, बहुत सी डीपर बातों को भी बहुत ही ईजिली अपने पोएटिक लैंग्वेज में हमें बताने की कोशिश की है. तो आप जो यंग यूथ हैं, यू आर लाइक द सीजन ऑफ द स्प्रिंग, you are like the most inspiring, you are now living the most important stage of your life. So you don't have to let it be so easily. You have to achieve your goal. You have to do it whatever you want to do, because life is very short, and in the fleeting time in this fleeting time you have to do what you exactly want to do in your life. Okay, so here with this poem you will learn something. I am sure that at the end of the session you will have a different perspective towards your life. You will develop a different perspective towards your life. Okay, so come on, let's see how the poet had symbolically used the daffodils, and how he had symbolically used the spring season to compare the youth, and how he had realizing the fact that the both youth and the spring season die away soon. Now see, as quick a growth to meet decay, as you or anything we die, as your hands do or dry away, like to the summer rain, or as the pulse of morning dew, never to be found again. So their life is as short as the rain of the summer. Now again we are having the sense of decaying. Now we are again having a sense of going and running away fast. So that's why here the word quick symbolizes the hurriness of, hurriness of the time, how time passes. So as quick a growth to meet decay, as you or anything we die. Now again the poet had compared the life of a man with the rain of the summer. And as your hours do and dry away like to the summer's rain. Now here the growth of the body, the life of a human being, die away soon in the same manner like the rain of the summer season. Here like the summer season, there is a use of simile. That's why like is used here. Or as a pulse of morning's dew. Pulse of morning's dew means ओस की बूंदें, वो जो सुबह सुबह हम उठ के देखते हैं ना, किस में देखते हैं, घास पे, जो ग्रास पे जो ड्यू ड्रॉप्स रहते हैं, रात की ओस की जो बूंदें रहती हैं, वो कितनी जल्दी सुबह सूर्य की पहली किरण के साथ हट जाती है. विद द राइजिंग सन दैट ड्यू ड्रॉप्स डाई अवे वेरी सून. तो इसी तरह से जो बातें, जो क्षणभंगुर कहते हैं इसे, जो डाई अवे वेरी सून, बहुत ही कम समय के लिए होते हैं, बहुत ही ट्रांजिटरी होते हैं. तो उसी तरह से द पोएट हैड यूज्ड द एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ समर्स रेन और द पल्स ऑफ द मॉर्निंग ड्यू दैट नेवर टू बी फाउंड अगेन. एक बार जो वो चली जाती हैं वो ओस की बूंदें, तो वो दोबारा नहीं आती हैं, वो उनके लिए काफ़ी इंतज़ार करना पड़ता है. ठीक है. So now we are analyzing the whole theme at a time, that their life is as short as the rain of the summer season, which comes for a very short time, and the dewdrops in the morning which vanish away and never found again, never return again. Thus the poet after comparing the flowers to humans later turns to the objects of what? Objects of nature. He has compared the life of daffodils with summer rain and dewdrops. Now the poet had tried to relate. He wanted to build a bridge between daffodils and the human life. That's why he had compared with n number of objects that also have dying away nature, okay, that also passed away so soon. So he had related whole nature with daffodils, and in the meanwhile he had given us a lesson that our life is so transitory and we human beings die away very soon. That's why in the introduction part I have told you, life is short, world is beautiful, love is splendid, and we have to use the short time and we have to leave the most of it. तो इस ज़िंदगी को जीने के लिए हमें इस शॉर्ट ड्यूरेशन को यूज़ करना है, मैक्सिमम यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ टाइम करना है और रियलाइज़ करना है कि ये पल दोबारा नहीं आएगा. दैट्स वाई विथ वेरी सैडिस्टिक टोन द पोएट हैड यूज्ड अ फिलॉसफी. सो हेयर with the sadistic tone there is a philosophical overtones also, okay. So you have to realize the main theme of the poem, that why the poet, this is a fact that we are not immortal, we have to die, okay. So why the poet had used such kind of a imagery, why he had used such kind of a symbols, why he had used the daffodils to convey his idea of life, why he had shared his vision of life with us. He had shared with us his philosophy of life, that come on young youth, come on, do something for your future, do something for your betterment. Why life is very transitory. So I am realizing this theme to you also, that your life is very short. You have to do something in this short span of time, because you never know what comes next in your life, okay. So whenever you are in the present time, keep utilizing the time and then try to make the most of it, okay. So come on, I have discussed that here the use of symbols are very prominent, and the use of personification is very effective, and the use of simile is there, and the use of pearls, the image of pearls. So, you have to write these points. Come on, if you want to write down, make a note of it, that what are the points I am telling. So, you can relate it that how the poet had used the symbols over here, how the poet had used the personification with comparing the daffodils with the nature of human beings, okay, and how he had used the imagery of moti, pearls, the dewdrops of pearls, okay, and how he had used the how he had utilized the simile over here like the summer's rain. So, in this very short poem, Robert Herrick beautifully projected his idea of life, his philosophy of life with the various objects living and non-living, okay. So, somehow we had understood the main theme of this poem. So, come on, let us have a quick review at the board, the major 3 points in the theme section. So, come on, let us see at the board, the short-lived nature of life, the fleeting passage of time. So, in this first point, we have the main core of the poem, that the short-lived nature of life. We all know that life is transitory and it is very short. The fleeting passage of time, because time never stops, it keep on going. That is why the fleeting passage of time. Like the flowers, we humans have a very short life in this world. Now, here is the direct comparison between flowers and the human beings, and the most important point is beauty is not going to stay forever. So, here the poet had discussed about the beauty of the flower, because beauty is not going to stay forever. So, in these 3 points, I have tried to cover the whole idea of the poem, and I hope that this poem, this theme will help you in writing your question and answer section, okay. We will discuss in the first section. So, we have understood the theme. Come on, let us discuss about the word study.